What's up, everybody, and how you been? Yesterday, I saw a great movie, ParaNorman. I really liked it. I'm going to give it an 8. I can't wait to see it again. If I can find the money and time to see it in the theater before it leaves, I definitely would like to, but I will definitely rent this, right away. I really enjoyed it. I'll give it a solid 8. And maybe in the future, I can see myself giving it a higher score than that. But I think I will justify my 8. ParaNorman is about a little boy, grade school boy, who can see dead people. His family has been cursed with the curse of the witch for many generations, and he is the newest member of his family in the line to get the ability to speak to the dead. No one else in the family believes him. Even the person who speaks to the dead, who's older than him, his uncle, no one believes him either. So it's like a true curse, just someone is selected in the family and can speak to the dead. And the reason they can speak to the dead is to keep a witch from rising from her grave every year. So every year, the person who can talk to the dead must speak to the dead witch and keep her underground and from doing harm to the town. There's a lot more going on. I mean, for being an animated film, it's very adult. Deals with very adult themes. The humor definitely plays towards adults. I mean, kids, will enjoy this immensely, of course. But so will anyone of any age, because it's just a movie about truth and beauty. I really love this film. It had me from the get-go. It had awesome opening credits. It had even better closing credits. It was just great. It had me the entire way through. It was pretty much an hour and 40-minute film and an hour and 45-minute film. I wasn't ready for it to be over. It just got over too quick. And that's kind of long for an animated film, especially if, a kid is there with a short attention span. But I don't think they'd have any problem. Again, it just was over before I knew it. I thought it was great. I saw it in 3D. It was produced, filmed in 3D. This is the, I believe, second theatrical length film from Laika Studios. They do claymation. They did the equally, well, I don't know about equally, but also awesome Coraline. I mean, I thought Coraline was a good movie. I believe I gave it a 7, possibly an 8. But this is definitely an 8, and, in the future, possibly a 9 for me. I think this was better than Coraline, just because I related to it a lot more. Coraline was awesome, don't get me wrong. I just think this is a little bit better. Because basically, Norman is a loner, and he's obsessed with movies, particularly horror movies. So that's cool. I could definitely relate to that. The film is filled with countless references to other films, horror films. This is like a love letter to the horror genre. There's literally references to every, horror film, are, just every scene. There's something that references something else. whether it be a a movie score, a costume, a prop, a character, just a line from another movie. It's just too much. It was just like, wow, they're getting everything. And for someone who pays attention to that, and for someone who gets that, it's just infinitely rewarding. And it's just got all these just inside jokes that just, what I will say, make it highly rewatchable. I'm sure I didn't catch everything. It's also just absolutely gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Again, it's all claymation. It just really, that's a part of the love for me for this film and animated films in general, or just the painstaking human involvement. So much of this humor of the film comes from body language and body movement and facial expression. And it's basically, it pulls a lot of humor from silence. And when you realize that all of that body movement, all of that body language and facial expression, it's done by minutely moving clay, for hours on end. And I just marvel at it. I can't get past it. How it all just comes together, and you get like a little almost tutorial. If you see the film stay till after the credits, you'll get a sense of just how they do it. These guys definitely give Aardman, the other stop motion animation house, a run for their money. Speaking of Aardman, this film was written and directed by two people. I highly enjoy that. I've always enjoyed when a single person writes and directs a film, produces a film. I think that's kind of a honed, focused expression of their art. Here, two people directed and wrote this, produced it. I think that's cool. That's, rare in animation, I feel. Usually with animation, there's just a lot of fingers in the pot. Not so much the case here. One of the directors has done a lot. He did... crap. Well, now I'm suddenly drawing a blank. But he's done, like, many animated films. The Tale of Despero being one. Actually, it was also one of Aardman Studios, but it was the CGI division. Flushed Away. And several other films that I was trying to remember. I was so pumped about the film that I actually left and, IMDb'd it and read everything about the directors, and so I've already forgotten a little bit of that. But, and the other filmmaker is a writer. This is his first directorial, debut. I think that maybe it was his more idea, and he knew that this director, who was also, had some writing experience, and he helped him get this film made, and as well as serving as the primary director. I felt that maybe one was the primary writer and one the primary director, but yet they did everything together. I don't know really what else to say about the film other than I just loved it. It's very smart. It doesn't really pull any punches. It tells a lot of truth. It's very quotable. There's a lot of good lines. It's very funny. It's gorgeous. It's just surprising. I was absolutely surprised. The only thing that gets me, that even just mildly annoys me, and even annoy is too strong a word. You know, again, he has the ability to see the dead. And as the film starts, you know, it's almost like a plague. Obviously, he's a loner. Everyone in the town is scared of him. That's another prevailing theme. Again, this is a horror film. Maybe light horror, but horror nonetheless. And fear, you know, what is fear? Why do we fear? Is a big part of the story. Everyone in the town fears him, is scared of him, so he is ostracized. But anyway, he's played with all these dead people. He sees them everywhere. They all say hi all the time. He talks to them when, you know, people see him as talking to, you know, thin air. But he talks to them all the time. And then as the film goes on, when he could, like, really use some help from dead people, you know, who know everything and can be anywhere and see anything and go through any wall, they're just not there to help him. And really, they just kind of disappear. You know, the bad ghosts and zombies are what we focus on, and this town full of dead people that he constantly sees is just kind of not there when it was just so well established at the beginning. That's like the only thing I can even think of to not give it a higher score. I just really, I don't know what to say other than I just really hope you see the movie. It's not making a ton of money. It got really, really good reviews. And I hope everyone sees it. And no one ever watches my animated film reviews. As I assume not many kids watch this, or even people with kids would watch this. But it's just a bummer that a film like this can be in the theater and be so excellent and be so artistically just ambitious and not have praise just heaped upon it, and in fact have no one really see it. So that's a bummer. I really hope you see the film. I saw this actually yesterday. It was Labor Day. I saw a couple movies yesterday. The theater was not near as busy as I thought it was going to be. I mean, not even my particular screen. I'm talking about the theater itself. I thought there would be, you know, a lot of people at the movies on Labor Day. But even the parking lot was relatively empty, and the theater was relatively empty, and so that was surprising. There was about, I would say, maybe 8 people watching this movie, and in a rather large auditorium, so it felt like, you know, I was watching it alone. The 3D wasn't mind-bending. Yeah, I didn't have any focal problems, no headaches or anything that I commonly associate with 3D. It's very tame use. The camera doesn't really go crazy ever. There is some pretty wicked CGI stuff that goes on that is really cool. It's never too really scary. I mean, obviously, if you're a little kid, there is going to be some scary stuff. And there's definitely some parts where you don't, like, physically jump, but you do that thing where your heart just kind of, like, skips a beat. It's like the level down from, like, jumping. It's like a mild, you're shocked. And it all, you know, it comes from musical score or musical cues, sudden movement, you know, that whole thing. But I would, you know, guarantee that if I were 8 years old, I would definitely be a little freaked out here and there. As for the cast, I always just try and recognize the name. I know Cody Smith McPhee is Norman. I'm not trying to remember who that is. Also, Christopher Mintz-Plasse from Superbad, and he was, what was his name? McLovin. He's McLovin in Superbad. And I'm trying to, Kick-Ass. He was also in Kick-Ass. He's in there. John Goodman's in there. Who else? Jeff Garland's in there. Several other people. I mean, really, it's young people. Again, the cast is dominated by kids. Even the witch is an 8-year-old girl who was just wronged. And I suppose in Norman's family. All the acting was really good. John Goodman particularly sticks out in my head. This was something vocally that I'd never really seen him do or heard him do. He really kind of went out of his comfort zone, and I think it was impressive. It was like, wow, that's John Goodman. I don't know what else to say. It's just, you could tell that there was just all sorts of love. Just love overflows in this film. Love of film, love for this story, love for making film, just for the claymation, the process. It's just love and respect everywhere. And that really comes across from watching it. Super smart. I mean, one line that I absolutely love that I've been kind of repeating to myself is Norman is finally trying to, not trying, but he gets to make a friend. Someone is trying to be his friend. And, he says, I don't need a friend, it's okay, I like being alone. And his new friend says, well, I like being alone too, so let's do it together. I really like that. That's sweet. There's also a couple other really good lines that I was like, oh, I've got to remember that. It's suddenly escaped my mind right now, but very quotable, just very lighthearted. Just anything you would want from a family film. But although it is a family film and sweet and lighthearted, it's also scary. It also, again, pays homage to the entire horror genre. There's direct references to Evil Dead. Any film that can make direct references to Evil Dead is, okay by me. I mean, they're everywhere. Again, it's nonstop. And if you know your horror films, then you'll love it. You'll love this film, like I did. So I don't know what else to say other than that I hope you see this movie. And see it in 3D because it was made in 3D and definitely deserves to be seen in 3D. But just really a fantastic film. But I'm just going to go ahead and leave it in an 8. It was a solid 8, but just know that half of me wants to give it a 9. That it really just was so smart and so funny and true that I kind of want to give it a 9, but I think 8 for now. Let me see it another time. I want to see it again, and we'll see what happens from there. So that's ParaNorman. Go see it yesterday. Thank you.